Hey guys, welcome to the OpenLM Core Functionality webinar. We will go over the basic embedded reports of OpenLM and also see a few extended functionalities. So, what's OpenLM? OpenLM basically monitors all your license managers and consolidates all your different license managers into one interface under one roof. There you get all the reporting capabilities you probably are looking for, and you can get utilization. So you can get estimates on if you need more or less licenses, and basically stretch your licenses to their limits. So what does OpenLM support? You might have FlexLM, you might have Loom, LMX, MathLM, any of the 50 different license manager types that we support here. Now, OpenLM basically offers monitoring for that. First and foremost, it constantly monitors your license manager. So you don't need to import any files. You just have it connected constantly. It's constantly streaming. Now, besides having everything monitored under one roof, you can have everything managed under one roof. Meaning that you can directly interact with sessions. You can directly interact with the license managers, allowing the administrator a lot of power over his licensing system. Now, OpenLM aims to automate your licensing system. Now, it's not enough to get reported on license usage, on different sessions. You also want to get notified when certain conditions are tripped. For example, I got a license that's about to expire. You want to get notified. You got a license server down. You want to know that so you can start it up again. So besides that, OpenLM can automate your reporting experience by simply scheduling reports to you, and you don't even have to go to the interface. But why do we do it? What is the main goal here? Basically, to reduce license spending and increase license availability. That means you'll be able to see how many licenses you have and how well you're utilizing them. Most of the time, we see that people can reduce the amount of licenses that they have. Now, you can also increase the availability and make your licenses work harder and spend less time idling on user systems. Now, all this basically comes down to compliance. You reduce the amount of licenses that you have, you're monitoring everything, the system is automated, and a big plus is that now you know what is used and how. So when audit rolls around, or when you're asked to provide some reports on your license usage, you have it. You don't have to scramble and get everything. Now let's talk deployment. The deployment here is very simple. You have already a license server. Now on that license server, you might have many different license managers. You might have a license manager that for FlexLM, for MATLAB, for Synopsys, for whatever. So you put one broker on the license server and it monitors all the license managers there. Now if you have many license servers, then you just have many brokers. Now, all the brokers send information to a central component, OpenLM server. Now, we have some clients with 500 brokers spread across their network globally, and they're all transmitting to one OpenLM server component. This is the core component of OpenLM. There you have the database, the interface, and everything. Now, let me take you to a live system. I'll stop the presentation here and go straight to the demonstration. Now, OpenLM gives you a full view of your license usage and licensing environment. Now we're talking about engineering licenses here. You know that engineering licenses mostly come in floating forms or named or even tokens. Now all these types of licenses and all these types of license managers are monitored here. So let me show you. For example, here I have my live system. It has Autodesk, it has ArcGIS, it has ANSYS, and these are different vendors, and I can see the amount of licenses I have within each one and the amount of currently used licenses. So let's take this for example. If I click here, I'll be able to see exactly which features I have. So I have the viewer network editor. I can see how many licenses I have of each one and how many are currently used. So click on this used number right here and see how many people and who is using viewer. Now we see Yasmin, we see Phillips, we see Kevin. Now we see which group they're from, which workstation they're working out of, the session duration up until now, everything, license type, consume tokens. Now OpenLM can also report on the current idle time. Now here it's NA because they're not idling, they're actually working. So OpenLM can also monitor if the user is actually using the license or not. This is how you extend the availability of the licenses. But this is on another webinar for the active agent. In any case, all these users that you see here, all their details, logins, everything, it can be synced up from your Active Directory. If you have your organizational directory, you have everybody grouped, you have all their details, then basically you can connect OpenLM to that, and it will sync up all the user details. So you don't have to do it manually. You can, of course, but you can use the Active Directory. Now you can take these users and group them and put certain roles on those groups and say, okay, you might have some managers that would like to see some reports, so you can set up a role for them. You might have admins that need full control. You can set up a role for them. So OpenLM can be viewed differently by different roles. But okay, let's jump back. Besides seeing exactly what's going on in our system currently, if it's a high-level license server view, or if it's a specific feature view. For example, I'm interested in Autodesk Smoke and I see it's like almost fully utilized, meaning that pretty soon maybe I'll have clients calling end users calling me up saying, hey, I can't get a license. So you can open it up and you see exactly why. Now besides that, OpenLM allows you to manage the license manager a little bit. You can start it, stop it, reread the license files. Now this is remotely, and you can do it for all of these license servers from the same interface. You don't have to RDP to each one, to remote to each one, and actually do it there. You can do it here remotely. Now the coolest feature here is basically the files. We can upload a license file. You can download the files from the license manager. That means you've got a bunch of license files for many different servers. Then you don't have to go to each one and pass the file. You just click upload and select the correct file. It will upload it to the license manager. So you've got a little bit of management capabilities here as well. Now, let's go to this other system I have here, which this is a database which holds 201 different license servers. Just to show you that it can scale up, we have clients with more. OpenLM can scale up to even thousands. And you see many different types. You see BetaLM, LMX, FlexLM, LSDyna, HASP, DSLS, Loom, RLM, many different types, each in a different location, each with its own licensing model that OpenLM tracks. But okay, that's current information, current activity. Probably you're interested in reporting as well. Now, let's take an example. Let's say that you open up this report, license usage report. You see that you have 70 licenses, but the maximum usage of those out of those 70 licenses were just maybe 21, 23 licenses, not a whole lot. That means I have 70 floating licenses. I'm at max using 21, 23. Then I can drop a whole lot of licenses here. I don't need them. But let's say that you open up the report and you see something like this. Well, for this feature that we selected here, we see that we have pretty good utilization. We are maxing out here and there. We can check this out later, but overall we see that the picture is pretty good. Now, we can show this as a graph, as you see here, as a chart. We can, of course, aggregate the chart by day, by hours. Here you see it by hours. But we can also show it as a heat map. And right away, we get a clear picture. We see the dates on the left. This is the whole month. And we see the hours of the day on the top. And right away, we see that most of the usage is actually concentrated around working hours and working days. So like 7 until 4, Sunday and Saturday, mostly green. This is a really good view to understand the utilization. So if you have a global license, probably this should be all red or orange at least. But what about this 70 out of 70? We had a few cases here where we got maxed out. 70 licenses and 70 licenses used. Well, in this case, we need to see the denials, which is also something OpenLM tracks and tells you the denial events. If there are no more licenses left, or maybe it's excluded from using the license, whatever. You see the denial and you see the reasons as well. Now, we can aggregate it however we'd like. We can aggregate by user, by hour, by date, whatever we choose. And we can see the amount of denials that we had. Basically, it tells us how bad the situation is. Well, did I have at this point 10 denials or 1,000? What if most of the time it's maxed out, but I didn't have even a single denial? That means I have exactly the amount I need. Maybe I have a lot of denials. That means I need to get more licenses. Now, OpenLM also attracts true denials. Now, a true denial, that means, let's say I try to get a license, but I get denied from server A, but I do get the license from server B, like a second after. So the first denial that I got from server A, that's not something that we should care about. It's not actually a denied user. So it's not a true denial. So the difference basically, if you see it goes up to like 80, so true denials, and it aggregates them, and I see it goes up to like 40. Because a lot of denials were not actually denials. This can be aggregated in OpenLM. Now, as well as coming in a chart form, it can also come as a table. Now, all the reports of OpenLM come also as a table, so you also get the raw data. No matter the report, you can also see the raw data. Now, you can of course export this and play around with it in Excel if you'd like. Now, this can be done with all the reports of OpenLM. But still, we're missing something. We know our utilization, basically, we're pretty good, but can I reduce any amount of licenses? Well, for that we have the license utilization report. Now, what's the license utilization report? Let me explain. It basically shows the amount of time spent on each concurrent usage level. So let's show it unaggregated and try and think. Well, out of this time span, how long did it spend on 70? I mean, how bad was it? Was it for the full hour? Was it for a minute? Out of this entire time span, how long did it actually spend on each level? On 65, on 70? Now, on 70, we see that it spent 0.01% of the time of this entire time span. So just a bit here, maybe a bit here, just a little bit here. That's 0.01% of the time. Now, why should we care about this? Because it allows us to set something called quality of service. Now, what's quality of service? Basically, it's the service that the licensing admin gives to the end user that needs licenses. Meaning that if me, as an admin, I'm okay with the fact that 95% of the times that my users want to get a license, they'll get it, then I only need 45 licenses. Now, this is statistically speaking, based on the historical usage. If I'm okay with 95, or maybe I want 99%, I see that I only need 59 licenses, not the 70 licenses that I have here. Now, we've seen that the usage is concentrated around working days and working hours. So let's filter that out. Let's ignore weekends and consider only the working hours. We still see a reduction in licenses. Even at 99% and only working hours, we still see a reduction in 7 licenses right here. Now, this is 10%, but what we usually see is anywhere between 10 to 20% cost reduction only from this report, only from this graph. Usually we set up an evaluation of OpenLM. After a month of evaluation, we meet again to go over the reports, and usually we find many different features and many different licenses, which, well, licenses can be cut tremendously. So it might be more, it might be less, but on average, anywhere between 10 to 20% is what we're seeing. Now, we can also view which licenses are not being used, kind of taking a look at it from a different perspective. So these features, for example, Navisworks was just never used. I got 35 licenses that just never ever used. So next time, maybe I don't buy the feature when it expires. I don't need it. Maybe I buy a different package next time. If I see all the features of a certain server never used, so I can decommission the server. Now, OpenLM can also give you the raw session data with license activity. Because maybe you'd like to do some chargeback billing, group billing, project billing, you need to know the durations of user sessions. You need to know how long they've been using it or how long they've been idling while using it. So the license activity report basically shows you all the sessions in the filter that you choose. It can even show you the reserved sessions that you have, or you can exclude it if you don't like them. And it gives us the entire information on sessions. So for example, I see Joseph, you used out of this workstation, this group started at this time, ended at this time. All the raw data up to the token usage time and license usage time, and even idle periods. For example, as you see here, I was idle for 4 days and I had little peaks of activity because I opened Notepad and maybe went home. This is what I'm actually monitoring, as it's a non-managed application. Now this comes to show you that not only managed applications like different license servers or floating or named licenses are monitored, also ones that do not use license managers. So you can also use OpenLM to manage those. But more on that on a different webinar. Now, of course, that you can group it by the user, by the vendor, by project, feature, whatever you choose, and see the usage time and idling times. OpenLM can keep track of both floating and tokens, so there's no problem with that. We also are now supporting the token flex model if you're using that as well. And that's basically it. The last thing I want to show you before I move on to any questions you might have, I just want to show you where it can go. So you've seen well, the basic reports of OpenLM, the main reports that all the clients use. But let's say you want customized reports. You want dashboards. Well, you can use the Reporting Hub extension for it. Reporting Hub basically provides you with a data warehouse, and you connect to that data warehouse with any BI tool, any SQL query tool, anything you'd like. It's a database. But it's structured in such a way that it's very easy to work with. It's structured in such a way that modern BI tools can work with and give you tremendous results. So for example, let's try to generate a very simple report. Let's say that I want to see, let's go here. Let's say that I want to see the amount of users. I want to see users. I want to know what they actually used, so I can get the product of what they used. And I want to know how long they've actually been using it. So you can get that, drag it in there. And I have session durations for per user, per product. Maybe I want to add denials in there and also count all the denials. So I can also do that. Now, this is Power BI, what you're seeing here. Power BI is a Microsoft tool, it's not an OpenLM tool. It just connects to the data warehouse that the Reporting Hub provides. And with that, you can create many different dashboards, reports, anything that you're interested in, and have it sent to, I don't know, managers, any person of interest. And you can create different utilization reports, session, duration, denial reports, whatever you choose. It's fully flexible for you to choose what you want to do. And that's it. So just know OpenLM covers more than what we've seen today. We have options to alert you when certain criteria happen. For example, a server is down, you got a license that's overused. We can also schedule different reports to email, so you don't have to log in to the interface. You can access the interface from anywhere. You don't have to access the server to see anything. But now I think I won't overload you with all the details of OpenLM because we have like 10 webinars for that, each with its own part. This went over the basic OpenLM product. Well, basic and also a glimpse of where the reports can go. And now I would like to hear from you guys. Um, what questions you have? What do you want to know? Any issues you're facing? Please, let's use the questions box of GoToWebinar and simply ask. I see I have one question already. Autodesk is moving away from network licenses to named user licenses. Can OpenLM report on these? Oh yes, we've heard that. They're actually moving in like November 1st or something like that. We've been hearing that from many clients. Everybody is now frantically trying to find some solution for those named user licenses. Now OpenLM also gives you a solution for that. We have the unmanaged unmanaged processes extension, which works in tandem with the agent, the OpenLM agent. Now let me open up a workstation I have here. Now this is a workstation. I have AutoCAD here. Let's say it's an engineer's workstation. Now he can have the OpenLM agent installed on his workstation. Now, two things. First of all, he will be able to see license availability if he's using floating licenses. But in the case that we're talking about named licenses of Autodesk, then this component basically monitors different processes. So you can tell OpenLM, okay, monitor AutoCAD process. Or as I have here, we go to license servers, I have like Microsoft processes that I'm monitoring. Monitoring, for example, Power BI, Excel, and even MS Paint, because it monitors the running process, the running task. You just tell it which task to monitor, and all the data will flow into OpenLM in the same way. So you get all the same reports, except denials, of course. You get all the same reports as you did with floating licenses. This is why I say that it consolidates everything into one interface. If it's named, floating, doesn't matter, we have ways to track it. You either use the broker if it's a licensed server, or you use the agent if we're talking about something that does not have a licensed server, like Autodesk, which will go to the named licensing model. Oh, I have a few here. So thank you, Per, for the question. Chubi is hey Chubi, is asking, can we remove the idle license module from users automatically? If yes, you can show where to set. Okay, so let me show you. Let me explain what the meaning is here. Let's say you see someone idling for a while. Okay, you can call him up, you can close his workstation, but maybe you don't know him and he's in, I don't know, Mexico. You can't actually reach him. So you can close it yourself. You can click a button, or you can just set OpenLM to close it for you. So I've opened AutoCAD right here. We're going to see its usage in about a minute. We'll see it here. Now, if we go to administration, start administration, and process features, in case this is a floating license, then double clicking on this, we can see that we can tell OpenLM do one of the following: either save and close, which is extension, suspend and resume, or run a procedure, which you can kill the process or run a script. And what do we say to OpenLM here basically? We tell it, okay, if the licenses goes above 90%, something like that, meaning it's stressed, let's even say 99%, it's about to be maxed out. Well, start releasing licenses. Well, whose licenses should I release? Oh, whomever is currently idling for like an hour. If he's idling now for an hour, well, you can release his license. He's not using it. Now, when release, we say either extension, which is save and close, suspension, which suspends the application and releases the license, or procedure, which acts on the process itself. Christian is asking, so we'll see idle time in a few minutes here. Is there a way to change the quantity and specify the actual attributes you want to monitor over the vast number of applications available for a specific software? Abacus has a whole lot of features. Can we specify CEA to the most used feature? I'm not sure you can specify CEA as the most used feature. What you can though, if you want to keep monitoring it constantly, you can add it to the feature usage status and see it right here. Or you can just get a report on that specifically, because you can save a report, you can store reports, you can store filters. You can run the filter and just store it, like I, for example, have here. I just get the report, get the filter, and run it. Then you can get reports for specific important features that you're interested in. But if you're talking about the fact that it's packaged, and CEA is actually a package, and all the rest of the features are under that package, then you can set that up right here in product packages and define who is the parent and who is the child. Now, to get reported on that, if we go to license activity again, to group by, then you can run this by feature and see which feature is mostly used and which is not. You can also, of course, do it by vendor, see which is most used, which is not, by server, and so on. So if it's got 16,000 features, you run this report on the features, and it will show you, hey, this feature is most used, this feature is second most, and you can get like the 10 most used features. You can also see it in a dashboard right here, which gives you like top 10 used features, for example, top 10 most used user, longest sessions, and so on. That's also an option. Great. So while you're writing more questions, I'll just expand on that. What we usually do after like a month of evaluation, we go through this process. We open up this report, license activity, we run the most used vendor, then the most used feature, we see what is most used, and then we go and punch it into the license usage, and we start seeing usage and see if we have a problem. After that, we jump to utilization and see where we can cut corners, basically, where we can cut license quantities. Basically, the same path that I took with you now is the same path that most clients take when installing OpenLM. Checking what's most used, how it's used, and what can I do as a result. Okay, guys, so if no one has any more questions, I thank you very, very much for joining me on this webinar. I really hope you enjoyed it, learned something new. We have more webinars, but you can see a recording on them if you go to our website and just type in recorded webinars. You can go to this page, which has all the different webinars that I do. So token flex, cloud management, alerts, configurations, hidden features, idling, cutting idling session short, the active agent, and different engineering types. As time goes on, we will be adding to the list different webinars. Now, if you would like to contact us, you have any question after the meeting, just go to About Us, contact us. You can either contact us via email, or you can just call us up over the phone. Any of these numbers will do. Or you can just click here and you go to the chat. You can start a chat with us, technical support, sales related, or whatever this is. And that's it. This is the fastest way to get in touch with us. If you have an issue, open up the chat and just call us up. It rings across the offices, ones that are awake, of course. And that's it. We work globally. Support is given 6 days a week, 24 hours a day. So don't be shy. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Chubi, you're most welcome. Have a great day. Bye. Okay, Ruslan, Supriya, and Christian, thank you very much for joining. I will be closing the webinar. This will drop you off the meeting. I'm sorry for that. Thank you very much for joining. Goodbye.